Awesome. So our second question is, describe a key moment in your consulting journey. Who would like to start?
Yeah, Michael, would you like to start this one, Michael?
Sure thing. I would say that it began probably fairly early on. And what I think was interesting or was key was when talking with people who in the organization you're with have far greater seniority than you, and then they stop and listen and they implement what you've said. So when you have, for instance, I work with a team of programmers, and the programmers were developing the software to make the games run. And what I was sharing with them was, this method that you're using isn't intuitive to teachers because a way that you could approach it differently would be to try this. The way that students are being encouraged to progress in the learning here isn't rewarding for them. It isn't giving them enough feedback, and it isn't giving them enough immediate feedback so that when they go to the next question, the next game with your software, they're not sure how well they've done. So this sort of idea about thinking from a different perspective from a computer programmer was really crucial. When it came to working with student developers, it was seeing their ideas change. It was seeing their thoughts almost do like a 180. They were guys in math, they were guys in computing, they were guys in the sciences too. So they knew math, they knew physics, they knew chemistry, they knew all the programming things, but they didn't know math for a 5-year-old. And it was that perspective that they couldn't appreciate initially. So what I'd say that was the biggest thing was encouraging experts in their field to take a different perspective. And that can be CEOs, that can be CTOs, that can be marketing managers, it can be what you like. You know your thing for your field. And I can't teach you how to be a programmer. I can't teach you how to be a business manager. That's not my thing. But I can encourage you to think about how a professional educator, how a parent, or how a child sees your product. And I can encourage you to see, if we tried it this way instead, that would engage far more. It would engage, maintain engagement with others. You have bells and whistles, and I love the bells and whistles. Without the content being geared in this direction, you'll lose some. Some kids like the flash and bang, and some teachers, sad to say, some teachers are quite happy with a tool that will keep their students busy. For those teachers who are far more interested in tracking the learning progress, and they far outweigh the others, I'm certain, you have to have this as well. So it was that, I think for me, it was, they're listening to me. That was my turning point.
Thanks, Michael. That really is a key point that you've highlighted there. Thanks also to those attendees who chatting on the chat panel. Thank you for that. Please continue to do that. Dundee, I don't know if we can pass the question over to you. Describe a key moment in your consulting journey.
I could tell you a very important step in my journey, but to be honest, the most important step in this excellent journey, when I can let my students work on their own. I started this journey to learn English better and better, and to use the language that we have learned in the morning in the course books. And in the afternoons, we come back to school and we have Skype sessions, we attend to different projects. And when I can see that I can leave the classroom and my students can talk to other students from other parts of the world without me in English. And when they can work on their own in different projects. So I am not there, and I don't tell them what to do. And I think that is the most important step in my journey. When I can see my students enjoy this work, not to be afraid of talk to students, for example, from the East or from the USA, because we have a lot of problems with the different pronunciation, but I can let them to be in the classroom and they can open their mouths and they can talk English without me. It is the most important thing for me in this beautiful journey.
That's very nice, Dundee. Let me add something quickly to this key moment. Obviously, as I explained before, I am only really just starting to explore my journey as a upcoming consultant. And I really went in feet first, to be honest. A year ago, almost a year last week, I was offered an opportunity to speak at the International STEM Conference in Singapore. I was flown to Singapore, and I was put up in a hotel, and I'd never done anything like this before. And it felt amazing. And after that, that's where some of these conversations came up about possibly speaking in other places. And one of my friends made a joke about speaking in New York. And they're like, you know what, why don't you go speak in the Big Apple? And I didn't know anybody in New York. So I was like, well, I don't know. And they're like, well, if anyone can do it, you can do it, right? If you want to put yourself out there. I'd never even been to North America. So I was like, okay, so let's have a look. So I went, developed this networked to people on Twitter, followed people from America, followed back and conversations. So by the time I went in April, the 7 days I was there, I had things that I was doing across all 7 days. But when I initially had the idea to go to New York, I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't know anybody from New York. But taking into account things that Shireen have said and you've said, taking risks, connecting with people, trusting your own judgment, understanding that you've got to put yourself out there. Now, I've got just under 5,000 followers, for example. Half of them are from America. And that is literally because of what happened in April when I went to New York. That's where that's all come from. So you definitely need to take risks. Almost in an odd way, the bigger the risk, the better. Because once you've taken a big risk, one of the things I thought, well, if I can kind of make things work in New York, then I could make things work anywhere, because it's New York, right? So you put yourself right in the deep end, and I've come out the other side feeling great, and I'm going back to New York in April again. So yeah, absolutely. Great highlight. I'll never forget it. And again, it highlights everything that all Dondi, Shireen and Michael have said so far. Get yourself out there, be brave, understand what you're passionate about, and share it with people, right?
Perhaps we can just share a little bit of what's happening from the attendee side. Bushra has mentioned that for her, the greatest moment was when she became a consultant, and that was a turning point for her. So thank you for joining in there. And then she goes on to say of how that's for different challenges, and we'll be coming to that question very soon.